What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Make It Custom Unleashed. Got a bit of a special video for you guys today because a lot of people have been asking, where's the Cadillac? What happened to the van? Where's the Impala? We're gonna show you where they're hiding, the storage situation, and we're gonna talk about each project a little bit. So thanks a lot for watching Make It Custom Unleashed. Don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications if you don't mind. Leave a comment, share, whatever. Let's get into this video. Going for a skid, bud!
This episode, I'm going to Japan.
We are in Australia. We're going on a little ride tomorrow. This place is insane.
A little more subtle, but very custom.
I'm having fun.
Me too.
All right, so behind me on my right is the 1960 Cadillac Coupe de Ville project. This thing is lowered heavily, like we've modified the suspension to let the frame completely drop onto the ground. It's got hydraulic suspension in it, and we've actually body dropped this body over the chassis. So a factory 60 Cadillac, if it were to lay frame, the frame would sit about 1.5 inches lower than the rocker. And the rocker would have that, you know, the rocker, and then it would come in and there'd be a little pinch where it attaches to the inner rocker. We cut that all completely off and lowered the body until that bottom of the rocker without the pinch weld is level with the bottom of the chassis. So that's something that we did to this car. It's just got a small block in it with the turbo 350 transmission, and it's gonna get a ton more work. So that is where the Cadillac is. No, I didn't, you know, the car's still here. We're still gonna build this car. Now this one is a car that I think a lot of you know very little about. This is a car that I remember as like a kid. Like when I think I was 16 years old, this car was sitting in a friend's uncle's garage. I basically bugged his uncle every time I saw him for the next like 14 years. I'm not even kidding, like 14 years of like, just jokingly, every time I saw this guy, Dave, I'd just be like, hey, hope you're taking good care of my car. Like, how's it going? Have you done any work to it? And this is a 1964 Impala that has been chopped. It's got hooded headlights. It's got the bodywork shaved off of it. It's got a bunch of little custom touches to it that make it pretty special and in an early style of lowriding. This is like pre-1980s style. So I really like the car. I don't know a ton about it, but I know its history since it's been in Canada. It did originally come from the States. I don't think it ever actually got paint on it since it was customized, but it did get a pink metal flake roof. And it used to roll around, you know, South Surrey out here with a pink metal flake roof on it. If you remember way back, or if you go check out my Instagram, we purchased a 1981 GMC van. It was like a show van from back in the day. And basically, long story short, we kind of brought that van back to life. We rehomed it, and then part of the deal with us rehoming that van was getting this van. This van had a bunch of damage on the front, had no front sheet metal, so we did a ton of work to that. It's on the channel as well. This van is a 1981 GMC G10 Shorty van, no window van. It did have some windows put in it. It's got a small one in the slider, and then it's got some double bubble windows in the back. What this van needs now is basically the exhaust put on it, carb rebuild, might get my brother to give me a hand with that, and then we're gonna build like a full ridiculous interior, like just dirty carpet. So really stoked on that. My dad had something similar color, similar year back when he was a kid, and so I think it'd be pretty cool just to roll around in this, go some camping trips, road trips, that sort of thing. So we'll get to that. These are kind of quickies, you know, like maybe not the Cadillac, but this van won't take us long. The Impala, you know, I'm gonna drive that as soon as it runs, so it won't take us long. We'll throw hydraulics back in it. This is like next year stuff. That's why these ones are up in storage right now, is that we're just kind of focusing on the ramp truck, then we're gonna do the Model A, and we're gonna be back on the Zephyr. And then we got some special announcements about the baby Buick and something else to go with that build. Maybe a baby rhymes with. Here is the half-ass Merc. This is a Mercury 1950, 50, right? Mercury Monarch, Canadian model car that Brent from Half-Ass Customs on YouTube did a full build on his channel of this thing. We've been hanging out here and there, and last year my brother and I went out to go visit him, and we drove this car back. So we drove it halfway across Canada back to BC, and probably be tooting this car around this summer. Really stoked to have a road trip runner, you know, like my hot rod pickup truck is not really that. There's the motorcycle that I've just recently kind of got back into riding a little bit. I used to actually build a bunch of custom bikes. I worked for 5 years building custom bikes, and for the last 10 years or so, like during Japans, I haven't really had my fingers in it too much. So I just recently got back into riding bikes here and there and hanging out with friends, going motorcycle camping. But that's it for the projects in here. Actually, right at the back here, there is a recent acquisition. Basically, I built this car for a customer. They had to move, and this car was in storage for a while, like while it was being built, not finished, and they had to move. So as much as it looks like it's just a body, this car has so much work done to it. So it actually has full frame, full floor, up to the firewall done. But the really special thing about this car is that I designed crazy suspension for the rear of this thing. I almost don't want to show it because I feel like somebody might try and, like, you know, build the same suspension before I'm out with it, but I'm just kidding. This car has quarter elliptical leaf spring hydraulics set up in it that has shocks incorporated, has hydraulics, has 2-link setup. The chassis actually stops here and it becomes unibody structured for the rest of the car. It's a really wild car, and you know, it's unchopped. It has all these like hearts scratched into it, like there's like a young couple maybe, or they're in love and they're scratching their name in hearts all over the car. I think it gives it some character, but that is a project that I may never actually get to, so I might actually rehome it at one point. I was just thinking about it recently because you'll see from this video, I've got a few projects. We'll drive back to the other shop and we will check out the projects that we are working on currently and just kind of go over the states and conditions of those. All right, well, here it is. This is a sneak peek at the ramp truck. So this will be a few weeks ahead of where you guys are at on the other channel. So I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but I am gonna tell you that I'm super excited to be at this point right now with the truck. It is going back together. It is black, it is protected, it has nice colored bolts against the black. I don't know why I really like geek out on grade 8 hardware on black. It just looks right. Just looks right. Ramp truck is moving right along, and we are on track with that, with the thanks and help from all of our friends that came for the thrash. Like, massive thank you to everybody for that. But let's continue on with this little shop tour slash yeah, I guess we'll call it a bit of a shop tour. I've gone over this before, but I'll tell you guys a little bit about the equipment just for people that are new to the channel. Myself, it's been a really difficult, maybe not difficult, but it's been a long road of collecting the equipment that I have here. So like a lot of you guys might think, wow, that guy's got everything. Like he must have spent so much money on all that stuff. And yes and no, because as long as you can wheel and deal and wait for the right times and just educate yourself on pricing of different equipment, and like, or if you can afford to wait for the right deal, like you won't have to spend too much. So everything comes in time. This is like a pretty recent one. I've obviously wanted a mill my whole life, but a couple of years ago I found the right deal on a knee mill, and we use it all the time. It's just like an invaluable piece of equipment. This is a Hercus lathe. Ooh, somebody was gonna mention that. Don't leave your truck key in the truck. This is a Australian manufactured lathe, and it's the same as a South Bend lathe. That's probably something that everybody's familiar with. This one actually came from Australia. A dude on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, it's like a classified site. He posts this lathe for sale, and it's still got like the Australian plug on it and all this stuff. He posted up and it was like ridiculously cheap. I think he put it up for $100, and I thought for sure it was like at least missing a zero kind of thing. But truth be told, it was $100, and I actually like hopped in my truck, shut the shop down, and was like driving towards that city, like while messaging him saying, yes, I'll take it, I'm on my way, and I'll pay you more than you're asking, and so you can find deals. This is actually a new acquisition. We got this from KBC Tools, King Canada, King Industrial, DVR drill press. It's something that, it's like a pet peeve of mine, is like sharp drill bits and drilling in general, because there's nothing more frustrating than not being able to drill a hole because your bits are dull or whatever. And the only way to keep your bits from being dull is by making sure that you can actually control your cut speeds. This thing is unreal for that. I'm not paid to make this a advertisement, but I just want to show you guys because it's kind of, I'm geeking out about it. It's quiet, it's so quiet, and you can actually just like choose your RPM all the way up to 3,000 RPM and all the way down to what? I didn't know you could go down that low. 80 RPM. We keep all of our bits and stuff, cutting bits and stuff here, drill bits, taps, machining stuff, mill bits, measuring stuff. I think it's really important in a shop to kind of find a home for everything, because then when you're cleaning up, you actually know where you can put something. You know, if you don't actually have a home for your files and your bits and your punches, like if there's no specific home for your stuff, it's never gonna be organized. Elio's like, oh, free still runs. Yeah, I was driving around an industrial area and I literally actually took a wrong turn. This is so weird because I believe in coincidences, not really actually being a coincidence, like meant to happen type scenarios. And anyway, I took a wrong turn, or like I went past a shop that I go to all the time. It's like my friend's shop, and I just like missed the driveway to his shop and went too far. And this thing was sitting on the side of the road. Free still runs. This is a actually made for steel vertical bandsaw. So I was like, we're stoked on it. It's not in the best of shape, but I did use it for a while. I don't use it anymore, but this thing is just like a nice old Swedish gear-headed drill press. Again, found it for really cheap, and I haven't actually used it yet because we've got other ways of drilling things, but I'm just a tool geek and know that this one's quite powerful. So if I want to drill large holes in metal that perhaps the DVR drill press being 1 horsepower doesn't have quite enough, this is a 2 horsepower drill press that, anyway, I don't know. This came from a dude who was really interesting. He used to actually mine his own gold, refine his own gold, and make his own gold jewelry. But on top of that, mining, refining, and making, he built all his own mining equipment. So his shop was incredible. I bought it, I went in there to buy tools because he had unfortunately passed and their family was selling everything off. So I pulled this lathe out of there. I pulled a massive TIG welder out of there. It actually really helped me get started in metal fabrication as a hot rod shop, because I was able to buy some old but good pieces of equipment from that estate. So estate sales are another great place to get tools. A lot of my stuff is purchased as used equipment because good stuff doesn't go bad, right? So you can buy used cabinets and stuff, if they're probably still better than the stuff that you buy today. For example, these cabinets, they just they're probably 50 years old, and just the way that they clasp and all the little parts that make them up, they're just way nicer than a cabinet today. So old stuff's cool. We're walking through a sea of mini bikes right now. We have a mini bike race every year. It's kind of like what we do to blow off steam. All of our friends, we all have mini bikes and we just rip around the yard, have a little mini bike party every once in a while. This truck is a friend of mine's, Dan's. You've seen it on the channel. We did a couple pieces. If you're on the Make It Custom regular channel, we did some rust repair work on his cowl for him. We used the hammer jammer and made some profile dies for it. Really proud of Dan. He's kicking ass on this truck right now, and it's been a long time coming. We've got some extra shrinking stumps happening. Planning on getting a class going here soon and trying to have regular classes. It's something that I'd really like to do, and I think a lot of people have been interested in. So we're working on that. We've got the Sosa Metalworks Shape-O-Matic hammer. Really incredible machine, hits very hard. You can get a builder's kit on that. We've done some metal shaping classes together. He's a good friend of mine. He's just very great metal shaper, super good guy. And then we got my original English wheel. This is built from a Harbor Freight style English wheel, just the cheap one. And I basically just used the tool adjuster and the anvils from it and built the frame. And I use it for all my English wheel work. So you don't have to spend a ton of money on tools. I think that's another thing that I like to try and relay to people, is that I used to be personally quite intimidated of this type of work because I felt like it wasn't gonna, I'd be restricted by the amount of money I have in tools. And I think it's not true. I know it's not true now. You can make your own tools. You can get by without spending tons of money on tooling and equipment. So our own planishing hammer, we've got them for sale. We're currently building them right now. We've got kind of like a new version of this hammer. There's a couple of upgrades, but this is the planishing hammer, has all, you know, proper S7 tool steel, hardened dies, and it just works quite well. We've got 2 different sizes of hoops, and we're gonna have more sizes coming. We've got the hammer jammer. This is the Mother Tucker shrinking stump and the accessory kit for that to hold hammers and dollies. We've got the make it yourself bead roller. We've got these drawings available on the website. We've got these drawings available on the website as well. This is the my personal hot rod, I suppose. First one I ever really finished for myself, and it's not really done yet. It's just my bare metal 1938 Dodge pickup truck. It's got a Chevy box on it. It's got a handmade frame, hydraulic suspension, 283 with a 4-speed behind it and a 10-bolt rear end. Yeah, it's just chopped and dropped and loud and has just a lot of love in it. It's kind of part of me. Love this thing. My next car that I truly love for myself is the Zephyr, the 1939 Lincoln Zephyr I'm currently working on. I think I love it so much because I've got to put a lot of like hours and passion for metalwork into this car to make it become what I want it to be. Because this is a 4-door car. There's a whole build series on the other channel about this car. This was a 4-door 1939 Lincoln Zephyr, and we're currently cutting it down into a 3-window coupe and chopping it and dropping it and making it into a cool cruiser. So we got this Model A Roadster here we're doing for a friend of ours, and this is a 1931 Roadster body. We've got a 32 grill on it and Duval windshield. We did a custom grill. Elio's made custom exhaust for it out of stainless. A lot of custom metal work done on the interior as well. And then we got the baby Buick. I did not build this body. This body was built by a friend of mine, Cam Fletcher. He unfortunately passed way before his time. I've got the honor of continuing on the project. So I've built the chassis for it, and basically this is a 1956 Buick that has full-size taillights, full-size headlights. All the sheet metal came from the actual car, and it's just been kind of shrunk down. The bumpers are from like an MG Midget, and they kind of fit. I just threw like go-kart stuff at it and made a chassis, and I'm basically gonna try and drive it as far as I can with turn signals and headlights and just see if I get pulled over. That's the go. For the most part, that is where we're at with everything. There are 2 more projects that are, I believe, quite relevant because we're definitely gonna build these. The K-Truck is, its purpose in life is to make kids smile when they ride in the back of it when we have our mini bike party in the yard, but its real purpose is to become the mini ramp truck. Elio and I have been like bouncing this idea back and forth, and we might do it depending on the kind of feedback maybe we get from this video and next time we talk about it. But we're thinking about maybe having like, instead of a metal shaping course, like a thrash weekend that for you guys, like if you guys would want a crash course and like making that into a ramp truck, like in one weekend. Like Elio and I would prep everything. We'd like get everything good to go so that we could have a bunch of people here. Like the goal would be in like 2 to 3 days, like make the entire body and maybe even like get some paint on it so that we can haul the baby Buick around with the ramp. I don't know, it's a crazy idea, but throw it in the comments. This right here is a 1932 Plymouth 4-door. And what it is basically, I couldn't pass it up. It was a really good deal, and it's a really solid body. Like Plymouth was the first manufacturer to have complete steel floors. I mean, like front to back, no wood, complete steel floors. In 1930, that was Plymouth's kind of thing that they did. So this car has no flex in it. Like it is rock solid, has all 4 doors are suicide doors, so they all open towards the front like that, which I think that's a cool feature in itself. And basically my vision for it, I thought, how cool would it be to take like maybe a 1984 Toyota 22R 5-speed carbureted setup, little tiny axles on it, not take the chassis, but just take the axles, transfer case, transmission, motor, and make whatever pieces we need to adapt it to this car so that it is like a closed hood, stock looking 4x4 1932 Plymouth 4-door. Like, I'm not talking about putting newer wheels on it or anything, like 16-inch Steelies, like military tread tires or like zigzag tread, like just old, like Napco original four-wheel drive type parts. I thought it would be a really cool rig to like go camping with your homies or like go fishing at a lake one day, or I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about that car. I just want all your thoughts in the comments here, because I'm just kind of unloading all of these thoughts on you guys right now. Here's the other project. You guys have probably seen this recently on the channel on Unleashed. This is the 1952 Chevy Businessman's Coupe. What you didn't see is this extra chassis that I've got for it, which is kind of awesome because it's got C-notch 4-link and an S10 rear end. I think I'm only gonna get the S10 rear end and just put it underneath this car. I don't see myself C-notching and doing a bunch of stuff to this thing. I'm thinking like mild custom, you know, just lower it a little bit, maybe tail draggy, and then we're gonna chop it. Okay, well that's that. Thanks a lot for watching Make Custom Unleashed, everybody. Really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to just comment, like it, subscribe, whatever you can. That'd be great. And hope you all are having an awesome week, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you very much. See ya.